Vitamin D is the only nutrient your body produces when exposed to sunlight. However, up to 50% of the world's population might not get enough sun, and 40% of U.S. residents are deficient in vitamin D. 1 trusted source, 2 trusted source. This is partly because people spend longer indoors, wear sunblock outside, and eat a Western diet low in good sources of this vitamin. The recommended daily value (DV) is 800 IU 20 mcg of vitamin D per day from foods. 3. If you do not get enough sunlight, your intake should likely be closer to 1000 IU 25 mcg per day. 4 trusted source. Here are 7 healthy foods that are high in vitamin D. 1. Salmon. Salmon may be a popular fatty fish and great source of vitamin D. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture (USDA) Food Composition Database, 1 3.5-ounce 100-gram serving of farmed Atlantic salmon contains 526 IU of vitamin D, or 66% of the DV. Whether the salmon is wild or farmed can make an enormous difference. On average, wild-caught salmon packs 988 IU of vitamin D per 3.5-ounce 100-gram serving, or 124% of the DV. Some studies have found even higher levels in wild salmon, up to 1,300 IU per serving. However, farmed salmon contains only 25% of that quantity. Still, 1 serving of farmed salmon provides about 250 IU of vitamin D, or 32% of the DV. Summary: wild salmon contains about 988 IU of vitamin D per serving, while farmed salmon contains 250 IU, on the average. That's 124% and 32% of the DV, respectively. 2. Herring and sardines. Herring may be a fish eaten round the world. It are often served raw, canned, smoked, or pickled. This small fish is additionally one among the simplest sources of vitamin D. Fresh Atlantic herring provides 216 IU per 3.5-ounce 100-gram serving, which is 27% of the DV. If cannon fodder isn't your thing, herring is additionally an honest source of vitamin D, providing 112 IU per 3.5-ounce 100-gram serving, or 14% of the DV. However, herring also contains a high amount of sodium, which some people consume an excessive amount. Canned sardines are an honest source of vitamin D also. 1 can, 3.8 ounces, contains 177 IU, or 22% of the DV. Other sorts of fatty fish also are good vitamin D sources. Halibut and mackerel provide 384 IU and 360 IU per half a fillet, respectively. Summary: herring contains 216 IU of vitamin D per 3.5-ounce 100-gram serving. Herring, sardines, and other fatty fish, like halibut and mackerel, also are good sources. 3. Cod liver oil. Cod liver oil may be a popular supplement. If you do not like fish, taking cod liver oil are often key to obtaining certain nutrients that are unavailable in other sources. It's a superb source of vitamin D. At about 448 IU per teaspoon, 4.9 milliliters, it clocks in at a huge 56% of the DV. It's been used for several years to stop and treat deficiency in children. Cod liver oil is likewise an incredible source of vitamin A, with 150% of the DV in only 1 teaspoon, 4.9 milliliters. However, vitamin A are often toxic in high amounts. Therefore, take care with cod liver oil, ensuring to not take an excessive amount of. In addition, cod liver oil is high in omega-3 fatty acids, which many of us are deficient in. Summary: cod liver oil contains 448 IU of vitamin D per teaspoon, 4.9 milliliters, or 56% of the DV. It's also high in other nutrients, like vitamin A and omega-3 fatty acids. 4. Canned tuna. Many people enjoy canned tuna due to its flavor and straightforward storage methods. It's also usually cheaper than buying cannon fodder. Canned light tuna packs up to 268 IU of vitamin D during a 3.5-ounce 100-gram serving, which is 34% of the DV. It's also an honest source of niacin and vitamin K. Unfortunately, canned tuna contains methylmercury, a toxin found in many sorts of fish. If it builds up in your body, it can cause serious health problems. However, some sorts of fish pose less risk than others. As an example, light tuna is usually a far better choice than white tuna. It's considered safe to eat up to 6 ounces 170 grams per week. Summary: canned tuna contains 268 IU of vitamin D per serving. Choose light tuna and eat 6 ounces 170 grams or less per week to stop methylmercury buildup. 5. Egg yolks. People who don't eat fish should know that seafood isn't the sole source of vitamin D. Whole eggs are another good source, also as a wonderfully nutritious food. While most of the protein in an egg is found within the white, the fat, vitamins, and minerals are found mostly within the yolk. One typical ingredient contains 37 IU of vitamin D, or 5% of the DV. Vitamin D levels in ingredient depend upon sun exposure and therefore the vitamin D content of chicken feed. When given an equivalent feed, pasture-raised chickens that roam outside within the sunlight produce eggs with levels 3 to 4 times higher. Additionally, eggs from chickens given vitamin D-enriched feed may have up to 6,000 U of vitamin D per yolk. That's a whopping 7 times the DV. Choosing eggs either from chickens raised outside or marketed as high in vitamin D are often an excellent thanks to meet your daily requirements. Summary: eggs from commercially raised hens contain only about 37 IU of vitamin D per yolk. However, eggs from hens raised outside or fed vitamin D-enriched feed contain much higher levels. 6. Mushrooms. Excluding fortified foods, mushrooms are the sole good plant source of vitamin D. Like humans, mushrooms can synthesize this vitamin when exposed to UV light. However, mushrooms produce vitamin D2, whereas animals produce vitamin D3. Though vitamin D2 helps raise blood levels of vitamin D, it's going to not be as effective as vitamin D3. Nonetheless, wild mushrooms are excellent sources of vitamin D2. In fact, some varieties close up to 2,300 IU per 3.5 ounce 100 gram serving, nearly 3 times the DV 30. On the opposite hand, commercially grown mushrooms are often grown within the dark and contain little or no D2. However, certain brands are treated with ultraviolet UV light. These mushrooms can provide 130 to 450 IU of vitamin D2 per 3.5 ounces 100 grams 31. Summary: mushrooms can synthesize vitamin D2 when exposed to UV light. Only wild mushrooms or mushrooms treated with UV light are good sources of vitamin D.